The following video was recorded on location in my state-of-the-art office in the corner of my first floor apartment. If you like what you're about to hear, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell in the upper right corner.
Hello, is this Josh?
Yes, it is.
Hi, I'm Tomas, Corroded. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking the time to do this interview.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Well, awesome. Well, of course, we're here to talk about the brand new album from Corroded, Defcon Zero, which is out through Despotz Records. Now that the album has been out roughly a month now, what has the reception been for the album so far?
It's been really good, actually. It's been a couple of years since we released an album, and the anticipations have been high. So yeah, it's been good. This is the first time we release worldwide, also. So it's been interesting to see the response over the world, actually.
And where's been the most surprising reactions from? I mean, considering this is the first worldwide release.
Well, of course, I would say stateside, actually, because the Atlantic Ocean is a big pond. You need to. It's really hard to build a fan base when you don't have any physical albums, or even we're not even available on Spotify or Amazon or anything. So it's been we have had a couple of North American fans, South American as well, but it's been hard to push the music there because we haven't had any distributor in that region. So we didn't know how good the reaction would be and so on. But it's been really good from the stateside, and we have done a lot of interviews, and yeah, it's been like opening Pandora's box, but the other way around. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
It's been good. It's been surprisingly good reviews, and overall, yeah, can't find the words right now. Sorry.
Oh, that's quite all right. But just discovering you guys from this album, and I am one of those American fans that just discovered you guys because of this first release. Like, I can give you that initial impression that I love the style that you guys are doing. I mean, it's the right sense of hard rock and metal combined together in the right spots, and it's something that's really needed and encouraged in 2017.
Oh, thanks, man.
Oh, yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I definitely love this style where it's not too heavy, it's not too radio rock, it's just what you guys want to make. I mean, it's got a little bit of both worlds, it's got a little bit of other territories as well, but it captures that sound in between, and I really dig it. Yeah,
I think that's, we're not young, we're not chickens anymore, if you know what I mean. When we grew up in the 80s and the 90s, I mean, we listened to a lot of course, the older guys like Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, and so forth, and the bands that were really influential on us. I mean, like Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, and so on. These bands, I mean, they don't make metal music like that anymore. I think it's all about the technique right now. I think it's been very much like that, at least for the last 10 years, I think. So it's thanks for noticing. Anyway, I mean, it's exactly like you say. We do the music we want to do, and because we're not as young anymore. I mean, if we would have been, like 20 years old today, we probably would have been doing some progressive screamo kind of thing also. I mean, because you get colored by what you're growing up and listening to, But that's probably why we're kind of bringing the old sound back, the old way of writing songs and finding a groove. And we're not that. None of us are kind of the technical kind of player, I guess. We're all pretty good, but we're not really that technical like today's the younger musicians of today or so. So we don't want to rely on being the band that comes with the newest, hottest kind of sound. So we just want to make music that makes us feel good, and we of course want to make others feel good as well. But we're not trying to do something we don't master, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I mean, there's nothing wrong with a band having more technical aspects, but it should never replace melodies and harmonies and groove. And I'm glad to see that you guys are carrying on with that. I mean, bringing that style more to the forefront. Now that you get to do that with Despotz Records behind you guys, I mean, being able to show off those melodies and harmonies and grooves that are so severely needed in this style.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks. I mean, it's like we've been waiting to bring this music to the rest of the world for, I mean, since we got signed, actually. I mean, the old label had a couple of deals that didn't happen with worldwide distribution. So we're really glad that we get to give our music to a broader audience right now. And it's like you say, we thought that maybe most of the reviews would point out the kind of outdated sound to be just that. I mean, outdated, like this is not very modern, and you know that people wouldn't like it. But in the same way, we weren't that worried. I mean, of course, we want people to like our music, but the most important thing that we never can forget as a band is that we need to enjoy ourselves, and we need to feel that we're making some kind of an impact that we can be proud of. And if we wanted to, I guess we could have been a lot of more into prog and more technical kind of bits, because I've been a huge fan of Meshuggah, for example, since the early 90s. I love Periphery, and I've been hanging around that band since they first started out on MySpace, actually. That's where I found Periphery the first time. So I'm totally a fan. Also, Jens is a total fan of technical kind of music. Our drummer, Per, is more like into Black Sabbath and Pink Floyd and that kind of stuff. You know, his biggest influence, I think it must have been John Bonham, actually. So, I mean, if he would have been a little more into getting more technical stuff done on the drums, because I think a lot of the biggest influence on our sound, I think, is our drummer Pat, because he's a huge fan of making kind of easy, applicable drum style, you know, keeping it easy, not too busy and stuff. But we've been playing a lot of Slipknot tune lately, so he's kind of, yeah. He discovered In Flames pretty recently also, although we're kind of pals and everything. But so he's starting to adjust to modern drumming without losing the feel of the older stuff.
Yeah, you know? that was one thing I was gonna mention as well, and I'm glad you touched on it, is about the drums. I mean, like, if this album would have been like layered in nothing but double bass and blast beats and odd time signatures from the drums, I mean, it would have had a completely different sound. But the fact that it is more reserved, double bass in the right spots, being able to just let the drums groove and do what it needs to for the song, I mean, it really makes everything else stand out.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's something we think is very important. I mean, both me and Jens have been really, I wouldn't say bothering Per about it, but we've been like, you need to listen to more modern drummers as well. I mean, get some influences. But what's very important for us is that he stays the way he wants to play, you know? Because, like you said, if we would have picked a more modern playing drummer and make him put down the drums to the exact same riffs, it would probably sound a lot different. So we're all like, we need all the parts to sound like Corroded. and the drums are extremely important, as important as the vocals, I think, because if you would take out, you took Joe Jordison out of Slipknot. Yeah, they still sound like Slipknot, but I think they lost a piece of their soul there. Actually, drums are easier to mimic, I guess, than maybe vocals. Of course, everybody sounds different, but I think it's something in the drumming style, and we didn't use samples for the record. We wanted to sound like real drums. We put a lot of time in to record the drums live in a good way, you know. We got some samples on the kick just to blend it in, but almost everything is totally like recorded with mics and stuff. So the drummers are much more important than people want to acknowledge, I think.
Yeah, I mean, from a drummer standpoint, I mean, it just takes if the drummer wants to do a song in double time, or if they want to really slow it down or something like that, I mean, they can completely change the sound of the song and the style of it as well. I mean, whenever you replace a member of a band, I mean, you either gain something or lose something in that original setup. I mean, if you do have to make changes, you hope that it's always for the best. But like you did mention with Slipknot, I mean, it hasn't exactly been the same since Joy Jordison has been in the band, but I mean, they're still able to continue on, but there's a little bit missing there. But with what's going on with Corroded, I mean, it's great to see that he's starting to accept more of the modern drumming, but being able to keep that groove orientation as well, because that is really needed.
Yeah, it is. I totally agree. And this is the way we want to write music also. I mean, it's often me or Jens that comes up with an idea and we record it at home, and we make up our own drums. But the magic always happens when we meet together and play. And that's when you get that magic sound, I think. That is Corroded.
And speaking of that, how much has the songwriting style changed in the last 5 years? I mean, is there any recording setup or anything that's changed in the band, or anything like that's changed over the 5 years to make the album come to be what it is?
Yeah, it is actually. A whole lot of things have changed actually. When about five years ago, I wasn't in the band. They've had a couple of lineup changes actually, but the only original member still left is the singer Jen. Everybody else has changed during the years. The drummer and the bass player Bjarne, they both have been on the records. I mean, they are kind of, if you look discography-wise, original members. The other guys jumped off before the first record was recorded, so they've all been there. But they changed a couple of guitar players between the albums. So when they were going on tour with Airborne in 2013, the lead guitarist or the other guitarist had to quit the band, so I jumped in, and on tour they asked me if I wanted to join the band more on a regular basis, become a full member, so to speak. And when we got back from the tour, we started to write on the new album directly. And I know that when they recorded the first album, most of the songs were kind of ready, but they wrote everything in the studio together with the producer. The second and third album wasn't really that much collaborated. It was mostly Jens that made most of the arrangements and stuff, and even played a couple of drums beats here and there, you know. So on this album, we wanted to go back to what they did in the beginning. That means we locked up in the studio. But by that time, we were 5 members. Peter, who was the third guitarist, he actually had 3 guitarists back then. And he was also the founder of the band. He jumped off in the middle of the recording process. So it kind of, and also the producer. Sorry, I'm just rambling now, but I'm trying to answer your question. Yeah, we wrote the whole album in the studio. we did everything ourselves this time. Both me and Jens are pretty familiar with both analog and digital recording. So, and the producer didn't really like what we wanted to go, where we wanted to go with the music. The producer that had been on the first 3 albums. So that was, of course, also a huge difference. So we did everything ourselves. We jammed in the studio. We recorded the album, I think, 3 times. First time it was like not anything like how it sounds today. And we made some changes and we recorded it again. And then we did some changes and then we recorded this fairly much live. So yeah, we really went back to the beginning of music recording. I think when we did this, we were really thorough. We didn't want to threading everything up like you can in the computer right now today. So we wanted it to. We really knew how to play the songs when we recorded it. Yeah, so we could get that live feeling, kind of.
Yeah,
that was a lot. That was a long answer.
Well, that's.
I think I answered 5 questions in that answer.
Yeah, well, I mean, being relatively new to the band, I love hearing that backstory about how you got involved, the rest of the band got involved, and how the new songwriting for the new album came about, because I love that approach of just getting back to the original way of songwriting and just jamming together, getting these songs as ready as possible for the studio, making any changes that you need to, rather than just relying on computers, but to actually know the songs and craft them right.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted it to feel good when we played it live, you know, and that's why this album has been ready for 3 years, actually. The whole recording process and writing process took us about 2 years, and then during that time we also did a lot of touring. So the album has been ready for 3 years, and I don't know if you're into writing music and being in a band or anything, but I think you've heard this before, that everybody who makes an album says that this is the best album we've done so far. This is the best thing we've done. And then about a half year later, it's like, I'm tired of this now. But this, I mean, we've been waiting for 3 years to let this come out in the world, and I still love listening to the record. So that's something that I've never been able to say before. I mean, so that means that all that time we put in to make the record like we did really paid off, because I think that probably if we can live this long with the record and still liking it, I think that everyone who will enjoy it today will probably enjoy it as much in 3 years from now. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that too, because much like you said, I mean, everyone's got to be proud of their album when it's coming out, because you want people to be able to check it out. You want people to go see you live, buy the merchandise and everything like that. But when you have all of that time with 3 years behind an album, and now with all the success, getting on Despotz records, getting all these great opportunities, and now finally being able to release the album, it's great to see that the same appreciation is still there.
Yeah, it is, and it's very appreciated. I can tell you. I mean, it would have really sucked if we were tired of the album 2 years ago. I think it would have been real hard to find a label who would put it out. I mean, it's cool with when you make an album quick, you get to be really creative, and maybe you try stuff that you probably, if you think three or four times about it, wouldn't put it on the record. But it's a fun way to make an album too. I mean, when you are very creative and just record everything and then you fix it in the computer and poof, it's out, you know. But this was a really it was a difficult, I mean, both emotionally and time-wise, I mean, to do it this way, the way we did it. But it really shows that it pays off in the end, when you can say that you still love the album. I mean, I don't have a single regret about this record, and that proves full out, because I'm not a perfectionist, but I need something to be there. I need to feel like it. I think it really has a part of us in it. You know what I mean? It's like it's all our little baby. It's not like one guy who did all the music, and we really did work together to come to the end result, which is the album. So I think we are all very proud of it.
Well, I can definitely say from a brand new fan perspective that it was definitely worth the wait. I mean, like I said in the beginning, this style of music is absolutely needed in 2017 with what you guys are doing, and having the album for so long and making the changes needed and having everything going your way, especially with great label signing just as Despotz Records. I mean, the fact that you guys are getting that worldwide exposure now, that you're showcasing this style of music that needs to be heard, everything's going good in the band, the songwriting, it's all the pain and the struggle that goes into being a band really has paid off, at least from my perspective.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'm really glad that even if you're a fairly new found fan, I mean, it's really nice to hear that our soul is shining through, you know.
Oh, definitely. So what's next for the band?
Right now we're working on, we got a couple of festival shows here in Sweden, or a couple, I mean 6 or 7, during the summer. Otherwise we're kind of laying a bit low for the fall. I'm hoping I'm hoping we get on a bigger tour, European tour, this fall. We're looking for a couple of opportunities to play in the States as well. But that's not until the beginning of next year, I think. So, yeah, it's like, it's touring. That's on the plate for the next couple of, I'd say the next half year.
Oh, very cool. And yeah, this album definitely deserves as much touring as you guys are able to do, because I imagine these songs sound absolutely amazing live, and getting those experiences with the summer festivals and hopefully hitting America next year and along with other touring. I mean, it's great to see that it is getting that exposure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really hope. It's been overwhelming stateside, like I said. It's been huge. We got a lot of attention. We do about, I don't know, 10, 12 interviews a week, and that's really, really cool. I think I don't think anyone could have imagined to get this kind of response right away. And also, we need to thank our guys, our PR guys, that hooking us up with all these great interviews.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that too. I mean, the PR that I worked with to line up this interview has been such a great guy and opened my eyes to a lot of music that I wasn't necessarily aware of, but once I was, like, I started falling in love with the music and wanted to promote it immediately, and that's what happened with you guys as well. I mean, like again, I can't say it enough, with your guys' style, it's so refreshing to hear that amongst everything else that's out there, and it makes everything stand out too, because you are playing the music that you want to play rather than trying to play to what's popular or trendy or whatever the case is. You're just making the music that you want to make, and it sounds authentic, and that's all I really need.
Oh, thanks, man. That's really appreciated. Yeah, we are, of course, I guess all musicians struggle from time to time, you know, to keep track. You want to be relevant, of course, but also you need to save your soul for coming albums. You can't jumping around and play different styles of music just because you want to sell records. People find that out. I mean, it's really transparent, at least in hard rock and metal music. I mean, bands that jump from one genre to another just to be relevant, they often tend to lose their fans, of course. So it's an easy choice for us to just keep doing what we want to do, and hopefully we can maybe change the tide and inspire a couple of bands to be more, younger bands to want to be original, to dare, to take a chance and do something that maybe not been done before, and quit. I mean, the record industry is what it is anyway, so why even try to mimic something that obviously will sell any records anyway? And just, I hope that we as old guys can inspire the younger people to also go back and find. I'm not saying that the new music is soulless, but you know what I mean. I think you do.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it just goes back to making the music you want to make rather than making the music that you think is going to get you popular. And you guys have proven, I mean, especially over the last few years now, I mean, with all of the trials and tribulations that go into being in a band, I mean, some bands have lulls like this and they're never able to recover, but you guys have been able to take this time and be able to make yourselves into a grander scale than was originally thought possible. I mean, with Despotz behind you, these summer festivals, possibly opportunities to hit America. I mean, you guys are proving when you stick to your guns, it can work out. Yeah,
you just need to stay positive and believe in what you do. Do what you want to do and believe in it. Things will work out.